Congratulations! You are at the right place at the right time to start your day with a lightning bolt of energy. If you're here, it's because morning talk shows and even most podcasts have you down in the dumps, depleted and yearning for more. I want more money. I want more time. I want more magic. I want to be told what to do. I want to find what works. I want to scale my business. I want to be provided with actionable inspiration. And if more is what you want, then get ready for the Unblinded Huddle, which is the #1 way to start your day with a dose of integrity-based human influence. With your hosts, Sean Callaghy, Fernando Valencia, Adam Gugino, Jared Yellen, and the entire Unblinded movement.
Hey, good morning, guys, and happy Ecosystem Merger and Mastery Monday. Also, happy Easter. Fernando, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sean. Happy Easter to everyone that celebrated. How are you this morning?
Yeah, happy Passover as well. If I don't know that we've said that. So, yes, what is present for you, Fernando?
What is present for me is the power of multiplication, the love and care that we have for the dreams of everyone in our movement, and the fact that it's not words, it is the diligent thinking, creation of process around how everyone here can make more money in less time with more magic.
We just had a little call on the sales, on the Mastery pre-huddle. And, thank you for Dimple for getting some stuff going there. Thank you, Erica, as well, for your voice. Just so everybody that was on that huddle this morning, our format is going to be open at times more controlled. So we wanted to certainly let, airtime for some of that conversation occur. And we're always going to get cut off. That's going to be a part of how it is. So we can roll into this prime huddle. For those of you who knew that, like, hey, what's going on here? You heard the introductory audio for sure. And so that we are here and committed not to be just inspirational and aspirational, but truly to create process master acceleration and magic. And we're referred to as magic is having your progress towards the emotions and states that you want to feel on a daily basis, but also seeing the materializing of money and counting things. And to complete that cycle from the earlier call, it's what are you counting? This is what's present for me on Ecosystem Merger Monday. Like, what are the things that you are counting? And are you counting your ecosystems merged, right? Meaning, your strategic, for those that are new, strategic relationships, but it's much deeper than that. The frictionlessness, the number of sales meetings, is that something you're actually doing and counting? Are you counting the number of speaking engagements that you're engaging in, how many people are attending, and what that acceleration actually looks like? So those are the prime questions that are present for me this morning. And for you in the chat, please participate, questions, comments, thoughts, like what is present for you? What's the biggest fear that you have right now in the world? You, please, for the community ecosystem in the chat, what's the biggest fear that you currently have? And also, what's the thing that you're most excited about? Let's work on engagement, connecting with people. And this morning, and Jared, I want to play with something experimentally and see if we can unmute everybody simultaneously at some point at the end, so we could always give a hand to our guests and feel the collective energy together of applause and comments and things. So I'm not asking yet, just be thinking about it. Unmute everybody and let's hear it for our guests. Let's identify our opportunity that later, so we feel one another's collective energy. But leading up to that, Fernando, we got a couple of outstanding guests and dear friends of mine. So what is present, Fernando, and who we got?
All right, sir. So let's jump in. Friends, I would say for sure, we have Michael Smikin and Fred Pinto. We're going to start with Michael Smikin, who was and is an indispensable leader in obtaining $33 million and $27.6 million jury verdicts, making Callaghy Law one of only 2 law firms in the country to have 2 top 100 national jury verdicts in 3 years. Also, he has been able to argue and won 2 United States Circuit Courts of Appeals decisions in the 3rd and 9th Circuit, and he's been able to recover over $500,000 in employment and discrimination matters. Michael Smikin.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Michael, what's up? Good morning, brother.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so unique identity piece. What is so everybody can contextualize their listening to you, how has the unblinded formula, previously the Callaghy results formula, impacted your life in 30 seconds from where you were to where you are?
Yeah, 100%. So the Unblinded movement started, I think, with the first event in the beginning of January. I went on stage with Jay Abraham, which led to a chant by the Unblinded movement of "Stop Hiding." And I will tell you, I got a text message, a very beautiful text message from a dear friend who noted to me, he goes, "I'm so proud of you that you stopped hiding. I launched my own YouTube channel. I've launched my own Facebook group. I am your relentless guardian." And I really feel in a lot of different ways, the Unblinded movement has helped me to stop hiding and to own my space, step into my power, and become the person I was meant to be for my team, for my organization, and for the people of the world.
How about starting 10 years ago, brother, this formula, 11 years ago, 30 seconds of where were you and where do your skill sets stand in the room now? So for everybody listening, they're trying to master, not everybody, but many of the people here are in mastery. Some people are like, hey, like kind of what's going on, what's present here? And where were you standing in the world of the law and where do you stand now? Perhaps as contextualized by you getting sand kicked in your face in the very beginning of when you started practicing to now what you could do on a call with 8 incredibly prominent, super successful attorneys on a line with you.
Yeah, sure. So, when I first started my career way back, 12 years now, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I walked into the profession thinking that if you are polite, thinking that if you know the law better than anybody else, then you are supposed to win. And almost immediately I had my butt handed to me because I encountered people who used aggression, who used confrontation and conflict at the highest levels to disarm me. And I didn't know what to do. And, my first thought was to go to you, and you helped unroll the first parts of the formula to me. And as a result of that,
hit you with a lightning bolt. Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, it was like 3 lightning bolts, but yes, you hit me with multiple lightning bolts. And as a result, every year, year after year, applying the formula, doing what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, challenging my self-mastery skills, challenging my process mastery, challenging my influence mastery, I'm now able to get on the phone with anybody, multiple attorneys, bring them on, doesn't matter. And as a result, I've become a dominating force inside and outside of courtrooms to produce unique and efficient results for my clients in everything that I do.
Yeah, and eventually for you and your family, because one thing people are like, hey, so the formula, that's all great, does it lead to money? It eventually led to you receiving a $1 million bonus check. Is that an accurate statement? How did that feel? Tell people on the line. For some people, it's like, yeah, dude, I make way more than that. For some, that would be a dream. So what did it feel like to receive a $1 million bonus check?
Yeah, I mean, look, words can't capture. It meant a lot of things. Certainly it was an indicator of value, but it showed that the trajectory of my life had changed in a super meaningful way for me and my family. I was able to afford my dream house. I was able to set myself up, and it made me hungry for more, right? Not more money, but more of the same, more of the level of challenge, more of the same fulfillment. And so it was just this tremendous indicator, this token of what it meant to be, what you can do, and how you can change the trajectory of your life by, applying the formula consistently.
Yeah. And so, again, this is super helpful because nobody has worked with me for longer in the formula than Michael Smykin. We're 11 years in now. And Michael could dispatch with any attorneys on the planet. It doesn't mean that he could just win and make up lies, but if what you have is the truth, Michael's ability to see truth, illuminate truth, create truth is as high, in my opinion, as anything that exists out there. And there's, so let's go this way. So Michael, talk to me about mastering everybody for just 20 seconds. So like in your heart, pretend you're speaking to the listening of somebody who goes, listen, you're super articulate, Michael. I could never get to where you got to. It's just not going to be possible for me. Just try to bring about reality and disruption of their ignorance around what's possible over time. Like where you were and where you are now on the scale of mastery. Just have them see what's possible for them. How would you do that in 20 seconds?
Yeah, look, if you're going to go to the Olympics and try to become a gold medalist at any of those events, having never done those events ever in your life, you're going to fail. But on the things that we're talking about here, self-mastery, process mastery, influence mastery, every single day, even a 2 millimeter difference than where you were yesterday will produce massive results over time. And so the biggest impediment is your thought process, your limiting belief that, hey, I can never do that, or, you know, he's a lawyer, he's got extra education. Like, they don't teach the things that Sean teaches with the formula in law school. You have to learn those things and apply them. And through a consistent application of the highest levels of self-mastery, challenging yourself, breaking free from your comfort zones, and challenging yourself every single day to become better than yourself and be in competition with the person you were yesterday, that's what produces results. And you never arrive. The minute you start thinking you've arrived, you've already violated every tenet of mastery there is, because you never do arrive. You could get from 9 to 9.9 to 999999999, and you still have never arrived, because there's always that 0.0000009 that you can add on. So challenge yourself every day, apply your comfort zones, and you will change and you will improve for the better, as long as you're constantly and continuously applying the formula.
Yeah. And how many days did you feel like quitting, or feel like you were never going to get there and there was no hope? How many situations and times, including in those giant jury verdicts, did you think there was no possible way it was going to happen?
More times than you can count. And it tests you every single day, you know, because you want to quit before you fail. And that was one of the biggest things that occupied my mind. Like, you know, you start thinking about running down the stairs and you realize how fast you're going and you think you're going to trip. And so all you want to do is quit before you fall down the stairs, before you fail. And the truth of it is that if you're constantly putting yourself in the right headspace, you're putting yourself into a peak state, self-mastery wise, you're applying the highest level of analysis of your process mastery to make sure you're doing things the most optimal way possible. And you're practicing influence mastery at the highest levels, you're going to succeed. But if you overthink it, you're going to fail. So you have to do and stop thinking so much and stop worrying about failure.
Yeah. And so for anybody hearing that and hearing it sounds like gobbledygook, let's bring it to like a story of reality, and then we're going to kick it to our other guests in a moment. So here's reality, what all of that means. In the summer of 2015, in the pursuit of one of these massive cases where we had gone all in and we're taking massive risk, I had one of the most deeply disruptive events ever happened to me in my personal life. And I was absolutely destroyed. My self-mastery was gone. I was leveled, and I was basically unable to function. Okay? We had this case coming down, you know, to the wire, and we had to produce reports, and we had no ability to calculate the damages in the case, meaning what the case was worth. And the window was about to close, and the game was going to be over. And we had spoken to different experts. We couldn't make it happen. We had people on our team doing it who, quite honestly, cared at like a 99 level or 98 level, which is not even close to good enough. It needs to be like 99.9999. So, and Michael went through some horrific challenges and moments. And he stepped up and took over. And Michael, so just in the 30 seconds, what was the pain you faced? And what did you do regardless of the pain, where you picked me up and carried me in that summer of in July of 2015?
Yeah, look, it was impossible. And I think I died 50 deaths along the way. But in January of 2015, my father suddenly passed away at the age of 62. He had a heart attack. We were there in the moments of his death. And it really mentally screwed me up in terms of my self-mastery challenges, where for a 2 or 3 week period, I literally said, I don't care what happens, right? I don't care about anything. And how can I ever go back to that? And I was needed at the highest levels, and I felt called to action, and I was able to overcome, you know, massive self-mastery challenges that prevented me from being the best version of myself to become the best version of myself, because that's what was demanded of me. And then just when I finally got my legs underneath of me, in March of the same year, March of 2015, my grandmother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and we brought her up here to New York to get treated. And unfortunately, she got a terrible infection, was on a ventilator, and I had to fly out to Arizona for a month. And I wasn't sure I was ever going to see her again. And the way I described that in terms of the challenge mentally to the self-mastery was, it felt like you were ripping a completely healthy tooth out of your mouth. There's no way to describe the psychic challenge that you have in doing that. But I knew I had to go, because there was things that prevented others from doing what I needed to do. to make sure that I fulfilled my duty, that I met my obligations, that good would triumph over evil, that victims would have a voice over the bullies. And so, I was able to get on that airplane, and we were able to just rocket the case to an amazing level in that summer. And, there's no way to describe it, but I'll tell you from then on, everything was easy. Everything was possible. Nothing could bring you down that low when you're dealing with those types of challenges. And so, it was almost a gift in that it taught me strength, a strength that I didn't even know I had.
And when you look at that whole scenario, because there's people out there, and I'm saying this with love and respect, that can't even begin to understand what all-in commitment you made, sleeping 3 hours a night every day, like working 20 hours to 21 hours a day for months, jumping on airplanes in the wake of your father's death, missing your grandmother, not knowing if you ever see her again. Would you go back, undo it? Like what would you go back and ever undo it? Or would you accept it and see it as one of the greatest things that ever happened to you because who you became in the process?
Look, I would give anything to have my father back, but there's you can't do that. And so in light of that fact, that year, right, and all the years since then have given me a strength that you can't describe, right? So if you get on the phone with an adversary who brings some level of aggression at you and sounds like a barking dog, right, what can that possibly do to you when you've been through the gauntlet and back, and you've been baptized in fire and challenged at the highest levels? Because of that, my self-mastery skill and ability to channel aggression strategically has been the strongest of anybody I've ever met, right? Save you, Sean. But yeah, I wouldn't change that for the world. And it's because of that I know that quitting before you failing is the biggest mistake ever, and that wherever you go, there you are. And so you have to challenge yourself every single day, because whatever deficits, whatever flaws, whatever impurities you have in your body and your mind have to be forced out through confrontation, have to be forced out through fire. And that was the hottest flame one can encounter.
Michael, what I'm hearing you saying, telling me if I'm accurate then, or the application of what you're saying for the folks on this huddle in service of them, is if you think that you're facing a challenge because you are a little bit nervous to make a call to somebody because you're afraid they might reject you, imagine that what Michael Smikin has faced, and quite frankly what I have faced, is some of the most aggressive, unscrupulous, deceitful people in the world trying to destroy our lives, trying to strip us of our law licenses, trying to put us in prison, and trying to literally have the outcome of affirmatively destroying our life. Michael, have we faced those challenges?
Yes, and we have the documents to prove it. Yes.
Yeah. And so anybody, and this is not like look at us, it's look at yourself and say that there is no rejection, there is no failure, and what you're doing is building an immense muscle. And what Michael Smikin's life and success stands for to this point, and he hasn't even started yet, is what it stands for is the idea that you have so much more strength inside of you than you've ever thought humanly possible. And what we think are insurmountable obstacles and challenges, which may include coronavirus, and may include other really painful things of loss, right? On the other side of confronting and going through that gauntlet becomes you emerge not only as a different person of strength, but Michael has emerged as a completely different human being of skill and ability to stand for truth and help people. Fair statement, Michael?
100%, yes.
All right. Stay with us. And Fernando, we have somebody else amazing and incredible that's also a dear friend of Michael's as well. So who do we got, brother?
Yes, sir. We have the Fred Pinto, or Frederick. I didn't even know that was his full name. So what's up, Frederick, who specializes in strategic counseling, transactional, and litigation matters in all areas of intellectual property, cybersecurity, and entertainment law. He was named the Canadian Advisory Committee on the GDPR in 2018, and he has also studied in colleges and wrote in many, many peer journals, and is a dear friend and partner of Sean and Michael's, Fred Pinto.
What's up, guys?
Fred, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Brothers. Good morning.
Hey, as you hear the Michael Smikin, all of these things, what is present for you?
First of all, I mean, I've had the joy of interacting with Michael almost daily over the last 4 or 5 months. And let me tell you, our connection has been so seamless and so powerful. And now listening to that story, I mean, man, it really, really gives me a topography and an unbelievable background into the makeup of this really, really unique individual and this really, really unique firm that you guys have built. And every time I get levels deeper into understanding who you are as people, I understand our connection, and I feel more and more blessed to be part of it.
Fred, what does integrity mean to you? 20 seconds. What does integrity mean to Fred Pinto?
I'll give it to you in 5 seconds. It essentially means an alignment between thought, speech, and action. When those 3 things are one and the same, you have integrity. When what you speak is not the way you behave, you are not in integrity. And so integrity to me is the concept of coherence and alignment between thought, speech, and action.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. So in service of people, I think, and this is for people not only that currently have fully owning their own business, but are building with inside of businesses or are solopreneurs and they're looking to create their value going forward. In Tony Robbins, and this links to you, so in Tony Robbins programs that I've been blessed and privileged to be a part of, especially his financial programs, one of the things that he shares often is that the most substantial asset we have is our business. And I'll expand that, and I think he means this, but I'll clarify that from my interpretation. It includes what the value of our heroic, unique identity in the world. It's retention and expansion of the value of who we are, how we're perceived. In addition, it's the actual value of our business, including if we're a solopreneur. And you are the founder and creator of a concept called innovation law, right? So just to help people understand and see that, what do you think is the ignorance of people? The lack of illumination, the need for a lightning bolt in the space of people realizing the expansion and value of them and their business, the retention and expansion of that value. How would you explain that to 20 seconds, and we'll expand. You get 20 seconds, what you think people don't see about that reality versus how they see their value being, oh, how much do I have in my savings account? How much do I have invested in the stock market or real estate? Can you illuminate, create some illumination for people in that space?
Yeah. So entrepreneurs, innovative entrepreneurs are in their nature, what they do, like they breathe oxygen, they innovate. They innovate in a very unique way. I call it their unique innovation value. And I feel that the lightning bolt that a lot of times they need is understanding how that maps onto different categories of intangible assets that they can actually protect. And it really is unique for different corporations. You could lump them together in different groups, but bottom line, every business is unique. If it is not unique, it does not have that much value. And if it is unique and it is innovative, what we need to do is we need to help them map out what that means in terms of actual intangible assets that they can actually protect. And the points of emphasis are going to be different. The strategies are going to be different. And the prioritization is going to be different for every single corporation. So just really stepping up and realizing just how unique they are. And they need a plan that's just as unique as their innovation value is.
Yeah. So from the conceptual to the practical, in a 30-second story, people are like, okay, like that sounds like some more gobbledygook for some. For others, they crystal clear understand what you're saying. Give an example of like somebody who's rolling along in the world and may be oblivious to the fact that they have massive value being lost or not captured, maybe in the context of somebody you've worked with, that naming them, but like, hey, I met this person, this is what happened.
Classic category of entrepreneur who does not understand the value of what they do is influencers, believe it or not. So influencers are extremely innovative. It's just they think like, I'm not creating a new formula. I'm not creating anything that's patentable. They feel they're actually, the way that they express themselves, their tone of voice, their emotional connection with people is extremely innovative. But they feel that it's just like the wind, it comes and goes. Absolutely wrong. They need to protect their brands very, very strongly. They need to protect their customer lists and client bases very, very strongly. They need to make sure that they acquire personal information in a way that they can actually use it and deploy it for their commercial purposes. So even influencers who don't see themselves as operating in a proprietary paradigm create a tremendous amount of unique innovation value. And there are very, very tangible ways in which they can protect that. And that's what I do. That's been my life's mission, is helping these innovative entrepreneurs protect themselves and grow their businesses.
Yeah. And so I think the second part is super interesting. So on a process mastery level, Fred, what do you think about, so there's three parts to the formula for everybody that's new. Self-mastery is getting yourself to act. Influence mastery is your ability to go from hello to yes. But process mastery is the mapping and the what you do. What I find so often is in each of the three categories, there's massive oversimplification and blind spots for people. That's what unblinded means, is that folks don't realize how much more capable they are of mastering themselves. People don't realize how much more exponentially capable they are over developing the superpower of influence. And they have massive blind spots as well to the true power of process mastery with its innovation and action. So Fred, in service of people here, right, and as we're beginning to draw this to a close for today, in service of people here, what is your reality on how blind people are to the exponential power of process mastery, action innovation? What's present for you when I say that?
What's present for me is that how surprised I've been how innovators, like I say, innovate very intuitively. But when it comes time to really prioritizing and defining what actually adds value to their businesses, they seem to get very confused. They seem to get they think it's a little bit of everything, or they're not quite sure. So I think the first power that they need to master is the power of clarity, and really, really not being able to discriminate and saying it's this and not that. And really, really being extremely clear on what their actual value proposition is. And once they do that, the other parts of the process where we start prioritizing what we need to focus on and protect, that kind of just flows naturally, right? But they need to develop that clarity first and foremost. And when I talk them through it, I can start making them see it. But right at the beginning, right off the bat, it's not something that they have an easy time defining. You know, whether their value comes more from a personal relationship, which is going to lead more to a brand-based business, or whether it comes in, you know, product innovation, so something a little bit more technical. Is it something that's more in the informational realm, or something that's a little bit more in the deep sort of inner workings of the product realm? And as soon as they make those initial distinctions, Sean, their prioritized innovation map starts to define itself. And then it's just really just what we do is we just kind of go with the flow and just put the pieces in place, and the plan could come into very, very high resolution focus literally within 10, 15 minutes. So that's been my experience.
Right. Yeah. And brother, thank you for that. So, and you are uniquely in the world, and from my seat, terrific at going to personal development programs and seminars. We met through the Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership, which I am super grateful for. And Scott Humphrey introduced us. You know, I helped them because you said yes to Platinum, and then that helped me because we built an incredible relationship. What is it? What is your reality on how most people, the challenges in most people and their self-mastery, because you're a self-mastery, super high level person, implementing what they learn, and how do you so effectively, uniquely implement what you learn? Because you've gotten massive benefits in the last year out of what you're learning. So what is it that you do, and you could give like an actionable model in, 30 to 45 seconds for people to implement the things that they're learning?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I would say is the first building block is energy. And so energy, Sean, like when I came to your event, I felt that the energy of acceleration combined with the energy of integrity gives you clarity at the highest level. Okay. And so when we go through the doldrums of like daily life, we're just kind of like stuck in the mud, and we're like stuck in the tyranny of how, as Tony likes to say. So to me, the first building block is bringing yourself to a state of very, very clear and high energy, to where you can clearly see your life from a higher vantage point. That's step number one. Step number two would be, in that state, you need to make certain decisions about how you're going to show up and how you're going to live on a day-to-day level. And so those decisions, you need to map those out, because that clarity that you have in that state of energy, that's going to probably dissipate when you go back to, waking up 8 o'clock and like driving around and like, getting interrupted by different phone calls and getting pushed and pulled in different directions. So you need to make those decisions in a state of very, very high energy and clarity. And then the third step is you need to take a look at that map and you need to be able to match that energy with daily discipline and execution. And so you need to trust yourself that the clarity that you received in that high state of energy is something that you need to follow, whether or not you feel like it, whether or not you're in that state of energy. You need to be able to look at your map and actually, and this goes back, Sean, to what we talked about in terms of the point of integrity. So your thought was really clear. Now you need to bring your actions to the level of that thought. And to bring your actions to the level of that thought means being able to commit and impose upon yourself the discipline that it's going to take in order to actually execute it and bring into life. So that would be kind of a simplified 3-step process in terms of a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last a couple years. The Tony Robbins ecosystem, but also, to be fully honest, the Unblinded event to me was a complete game changer. That's kind of how I see it play out in my life.
Awesome, brother. And 15 seconds, why are you doing all this? So that's all great. Yeah. That's who you are. Why? Why are you this person?
That's
what
huge.
Is it all about?
And I feel that at the Unblinded event in January, I got a huge lightning bolt in terms of my why. And my why is, it truly needs to be a sense of mission. And the sense of mission is not about what you want. It's about what you are living life for. And it's about connecting you and your little life to a higher sense of purpose. And for me, my higher sense of purpose really came into clarity when I was brought to that state of energy on the Unblinded stage. And I realized it was really helping entrepreneurs protect themselves, grow their businesses, and ultimately sell their businesses. That was really I realized was my life's mission. It was in bits and pieces. That's what I had been doing over, almost 2 decades in my practice. And I just saw it so very clearly. That is the mission. That is the higher cause, helping innovative entrepreneurs protect and grow their businesses so they can ultimately sell them and move on to, realizing their life's purpose on a higher level.
Awesome, Fred. Everybody in the chat, what is it that you like and love about Michael and Fred? What are the highlights that not just the highlights you're taking away, what do you like and love about them? What are you inspired by about them? And Fran, I'll ask you that question. Lead in, and then we're going to come back in 1 second. So what is it, Fernando, present for you? 1 sentence on Fred, 1 sentence on Michael, you like, love, and or inspired by.
What I like and I'm inspired by is their dedication to integrity and their distinctions and tacticality in innovation. Innovation tends to be like a dance and unlinear, and what's becoming present for me in hearing Fred and Michael speak is the tactical way that you can measure, track, and protect innovation.
Yeah. Michael Smikin, very few people can say that they saved Batman. You can say you saved Batman, and I will never forget it. I love you, brother. Fred Pinto, I am so inspired by your process mastery, as well as your self-mastery and integrity. It's incredible, and your precision, your language. You are a rock star, and I'm so fired up and excited, to create and grow. Fernando, anything alive in the chat right now?
Oh my God, alive in the chat right now. It is the most fire chat we've ever had. So I have a couple shout outs and a couple comments. So big shout out to Abnaviv, Bobby, Courtney, Way Lafena. We have some comments from Dimple. What I have learned and applied in 4 days in mastery is more than the 20 years of personal development. It makes me do more than all the other programs, including Tony Robbins, with respect to Tony, who has helped me personally. Any thoughts on that before I continue, Sean?
Dimple, it's extraordinary. Thank you. And without Tony Robbins, there is no Unblinded, because he launched me down this path 23 years ago. So he is, for me, source. Love him, and to even have you mention something like that, I'm humbled and blown away. So thank you, Dimple. Incredible.
Yes, we got a few more. We have one by Vina. To be stuck in something without growth is my fear. Be grateful for mentors like Fernando. That is not my fear anymore. Tesla, fear of not reaching my dreams and grateful to be unblinded. And then we have Rick. We are not social or spiritually distancing, just physically distancing. Thank you all for your contributions and value. Lightning bolt energy. Unblinded is more contagious than the virus. And there's more, but I'll end for there, Sean.
Okay. Jared, are we able to unmute and just hear a round of applause from Michael and Fred, and then go back to mute and complete?
There is no way to do that in the webinar version, but we'll work on that for future days. But everybody give a round of applause where you're at. They'll feel the energy for sure.
Woo!
And
Fred, Michael, great job. Woo! Yeah. So we're going to get ourselves all the way there. And is there anything from you, Jared, as we begin to take this home?
Yes. There's tons, but the one action today would be at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have the Battle of the Lawyers because both Michael Smykin and Fred Pinto will be joining us for the Real Raw Sales Role Play. So link has been posted in the chat probably a dozen times because the chat is moving so quickly. It's also posted on Facebook Live as well. Click on that link, register. Even if you can't make it, you'll get the replay sent to you, but try your best to make it because this will be an absolutely epic Real Raw Sales role play. Back to you, Sean.
Accountability in place for the building of this ecosystem and community. We all win by expansion. This is the challenge. Every single person that is here, if you are not committed, ask yourself why. If you're not a regular person on this huddle, ask yourself why, and even help us understand why, right? Because I can't imagine that watching the news or any other place is a better way of starting your day in the world. And our commitment is only to continue to accelerate. And the challenge I put out to everybody is one person a day that you're getting to commit, sign up for the huddle, and appear here daily. 5 people per week. You put 5 people per week on this huddle and build your ecosystem out that way with all the things that we have coming and the teachings and the learnings. There's no way you don't create massive acceleration. And Michael and Fred, same challenge to you. One person a day. Joining the huddle and expanding the ecosystem, one person a day. For everyone, it should be, you're talking to 10 people a day. There's no way you can't have one person a day. It's just a question of your focus. I am immensely grateful, fired up, but with process mastery. And what you heard today was from 2 people that practice law, but they're incredible entrepreneurs, taking their stuff on at the highest level, continuing to learn and grow, but massively implementing every single day, just like you, with greater strength in the formula in certain areas, more opportunities for growth in others, because, Fernanda, we are all blind.
And just learning to see.
Learning. Thank you, brother. Going forward, Ecosystem Merger Monday. Be on the Real Raw at 3:00 today, if you can, if not, catch it in replay. But it's Fred and Michael, massive access, because I have super open coaching permission for both of these gentlemen. Number 1, and 2, bring somebody with you to the huddle tomorrow. I'm Sean Cowley on behalf of Unblinded. Have an incredible day. Thanks.
So now is the time you take action. What is the one thing you will do today that will help you make more money in less time and with more magic? All you need to do is take one action right now and then head over to our private Facebook community at www.unblindedmovement.com to share your big win for the day. If you share today's win and any questions you may have for us, along with a 5-star review so we can reach more like-minded people like yourselves, your questions will be answered and maybe even your win will be live on the podcast. And if you have not already subscribed, please visit www.unblindedhuddle.com to be part of our live studio audience for each morning huddle so that we can help you see what you don't see about the fun, excitement, and magic of exponentially growing your sales.